everybody. I'm Frank Stanisci of Candid Frank Live, where you'll find us airing our views here on the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate, leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on Candid Frank Live, joining me as usual is Aaron William Freeland. We had a little longer hiatus than we planned or we knew we were having. And it's been an interesting, how was your week of frivolity absent of doing the show?
It was interesting. You know, I had the opportunity to do the Honda Indy, and then the week after that, actually did our annual charity lacrosse tournament, the 20th anniversary version of Fan Cup. Managed to raise somewhere in the neighborhood of about $8,500 for different charities, and yeah, nobody died. So that's an important
And
part
home
as
base was
well.
Oakville.
Yes, that's correct. It was out of the Toronto Rock Athletic Center in Oakville, Ontario.
Yeah. And they're basically, it's called the Fan Cup. And just to dive in a little deeper, these are fans of lacrosse, including National Lacrosse League lacrosse.
Correct. So we have representatives from cities where there are or there used to be National Lacrosse League teams. So we had a team from Chicago, Philadelphia, two from Buffalo, one from Toronto, and one from Toronto. Unfortunately, Rochester wasn't able to send a team this year, but they're planning on being back next year in Philadelphia, where it will be the 21st anniversary version, which I think is great because we'll be having the 21st birthday of a tournament in the States where it will be legally old enough to drink.
Like that mattered.
Well, no, not really, but
Like that mattered. Yeah, okay. We'll let that slide. All right. I look up Creemore Women's Golf Championship.
Is that where you were?
Creemore, like the beer?
Yep.
Women's Golf Championship. Does something come up?
Let's see. Riveting television, I know, folks. We're just shaking the ring raw stuff here.
Yeah.
Was that the mid-amateur tournament?
That's correct. Does it
Yeah, I
mention
do have
who the
something
winner
here.
last year was?
Let's see. So Shelley Stouffer was part of the field.
Shelley Stouffer. Guess who's staying in my house for the tournament?
I'm going to guess it's Shelley Stouffer.
Exactly. She's staying in my house. A place where she was going to stay. She's from BC. You can read about her there. And for those of you that are watching, she right now is playing the practice round. I met her yesterday. She came here, and she's staying with us till Thursday. She is the defending champion, so obviously she's a pretty good golfer. And I'm hoping, along with Eduardo, I hope we can do something with her. I'm gonna see if she's willing to talk. And we'll do an interview before the end of the tournament, talk about the tournament, talk about her history, and then we'll see if she. I said to her, if you win, we'll have a little celebration here. And she said to me, and I quote, I hope she won't get mad at me for saying this. Well, actually, I'm going to go visit my aunt after the tournament. So her aunt in Toronto. So I yield to the aunt anytime. So we won't be able to celebrate with her here, except for maybe a short see ya, good win.
That's being played at Mad River, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
It's in Creemore.
Yep. It's a good looking course.
So. Yeah, and it's a hilly course. She tells me she walked it yesterday, and so that's left. Okay, enough about that. We can carry on talking about her later, probably even Wednesday. Let's get to the shenanigans. I know she's from BC, by the way. Okay. So there are evacuation orders in BC. How's that for a transition?
Well, actually, that's not bad at all. The great thing is Environment Canada says that they're expected to get about 20 millimeters of rain for Vancouver Island and Metro. The problem that we have, though, is that's not where the wildfires in BC are. They're up around Kamloops, where a fire just out of the city has forced the evacuation of approximately 350 properties. As it currently stands, the fire is one of that fire near Kamloops is one of nearly 500 active wildfires in BC right now. It's becoming a bit of an issue because the number of wildfires has increased by about 100 in the past 3 days. The fact that they're getting a little bit of rain helps, but it's definitely not the be all and end all.
This is true. There's a new disdrometer in Calgary to help forecast the next big hailstorm.
Hail is definitely a thing. There's actually a research team from Western University that has actually set out 19 different hail disdrometers to operate around Calgary as a way to access weather data that will help them better understand and forecast dangerous hailstorms. So for those of you who like to park your trucks outside, they'll hopefully be able to provide you with a little more warning before you're looking at insurance payouts for stuff like that. Now, alongside each disdrometer, the team has installed a weather station capable of tracking factors like temperature, wind speed, and direction, precipitation, and humidity to help better understand conditions before and during hailstorms. Now, this can also go around to the NHP team over the cellular networks, which is doubly handy. And according to the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reductions, hailstorms have caused roughly $9.5 billion in insured damages since 2008. Wow. So it's not an insignificant issue. And while it may be funny to laugh at Calgary for putting out hailstorm trackers, it's kind of a thing.
And then you've got Ontario faces its own severe storm for today. We were just on the outside of it.
Yeah, the timing for this is going to be the afternoon and the evening, and it stretches basically from Val d'Or to Mont Laurier to Ottawa and Bancroft. That is the severe possibility. The rest of the province is actually listed as having had thunderstorms, and I know that we got about 10 to 12 millimeters just this afternoon in my local area. So it's something to
we just missed it. We just got a touch. We didn't get that much. There's also heavy rain that has hit Newfoundland. Nova Scotia has been spared. After all, they've had some flooding recently, so that's kind of tough.
Yeah, there's massive damage from this sort of thing. They're still trying to drain a field to try to find 4 individuals who disappeared in that region in a van. Now, the good news is that the waters are finally receding, but New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Labrador, and eastern Quebec are all still getting absolutely rocked by this storm. It's a lingering disturbance over the region that's going to provide enough lift to spark other showers and thunderstorms with the heat of the day. While they should remain below severe limits, there's a lot of moisture that's still over the region.
Absolutely. Let's go over to sports in Major League Baseball. The Toronto Blue Jays, they won one after losing one against Seattle, their nemesis from last year that ousted them from the playoffs.
Yeah, they were lucky on this one. They actually managed to win 4-3. That prevents a 3-game streak. They have been in it rough. And over the course of the past few games, there has been actually speculation as to whether or not Gibby might be brought back to replace Schneider. But I think for the most part, it's just rumors at this point. We'll have to see.
Yeah, a little. Well, he didn't like the stat thing, right? He wasn't a stat guy.
Yeah,
he was. Wow. He was old school. So that's kind of crazy that they want to go back. That's they had the catchers with the radios, with the flash buttons, and all that stuff. The Blue Jays. What is it with their young star pitchers that can't maintain a major league position? Nate Pearson now has been sent down to clear a spot for Genesis Cabrera.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. I mean, I know that Alek Manoah had his own issues and got sent down. I know that he's still having issues here. But they decided to acquire Genesis Cabrera to try to deplete the Seattle Mariners lineup to give them a bit of an advantage there. But I'm not 100% sure why they sent down Nate.
It sounds like a numbers thing.
I'm inclined to believe it's more paper transactions than anything else. I don't think they actually intend for him to get in any rotations while he's down there, but it is certainly something to keep an eye on.
Let's look at the Canadian Football League. Ottawa defeated Calgary 43-41 in overtime, and another comeback for Ottawa, and another running out of his mind quarterback. So another comeback.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting. I think this is the second or third time now that they've gone to overtime.
Oh,
So they certainly haven't had the best season when it comes to that sort of thing. But um, you know, the fact that they're showing signs of life now after a lot of changes that were made in the offseason is certainly heartening. I don't think they'll be making the playoffs anytime soon, but we'll
be careful,
cross
Aaron,
that bridge when we
because
get there.
I don't know, Aaron. I think when you have a quarterback on your team that can pass, run, and basically think fast on his feet, that's a pretty good bucket list of qualities that a CFL quarterback should have. Yeah, Crum is actually a very good quarterback. It's only 2 games. 2 games doesn't really tell the whole story,
No,
but he's caught on pretty quick, and I've come to the realization that with what happened in Toronto, and they defeated Hamilton 31-15, and their quarterback Kelly has from day one been good as well, but he has the same kind of traits that Crum does, or Crum has the same as Kelly does. Regardless, they're very similar, and their success has been instantaneous, immediate. And I think that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a quarterback. Maybe this business about waiting 3-4 years for an American to figure it out. Maybe just bring a guy in that can figure it out because he just can. I don't know. That's what these 2 quarterbacks have shown. You don't need to be here for 3 years, 3-4 years.
no, this is true. It's not necessarily. Sometimes the development curve is significantly different depending on where these players come from. But for sure, Crum has certainly looked decent. And the fact that Ottawa's sitting at 3-3-0, I may have been a little premature in saying they may not make
They
the
got a good
playoffs.
shot. They got a good
You
shot to make the place. They're playing
know,
500 football. That's Grey Cup kind of numbers. Winnipeg, well, Edmonton lost again.
yeah, this has not been the season that Edmonton has been looking forward to. They are currently still winless. This was supposed to be a potentially good game for them. I mean, Winnipeg is a strong team at 5-2-0. Edmonton, unfortunately, is now on the wrong end of things and looking way up the barrel. So, will be interesting to see if they can actually manage to turn it around. Hopefully, they find out how to do that sooner rather than later.
Going to the World Tennis Association, the world number 2, Novak Djokovic, withdraws from the National Bank Open due to fatigue. He lost to the young man, let's see, from Spain. Yes, he was from Spain in the champion. Wow, at Wimbledon, and he got a weird penalty where he grunted at the wrong time, and he seemed pretty good about the loss. He seemed pretty good natured about it, but now he's talking about fatigue. Well, if there's one quality that Djokovic had, and that people know that he has, and that is his durability. This is kind of what fatigue.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that myself. I mean, certainly he's not getting any younger. He is currently 36 years old. He's a 23-time Grand Slam champion. Um, I mean, he's won in Toronto before. He's had success here. He may not necessarily feel the need to show up anymore, but because he is not going to be showing up for the National Bank Open, this leaves the door open for Christopher Eubanks, who will get automatic entry into the main draw as Djokovic's replacement.
Hmm.
Now, Eubanks himself is actually off a surprising quarterfinal run at Wimbledon, where he beat Stefan Tsitsipas and Cameron Norrie en route to the final 8. So, if you were hoping to see Novak Djokovic, unfortunately he won't be there, but they do certainly have an adequate replacement.
So Formula One, Verstappen steps it up again. He's very bullish. He's red bullish, in fact, dominating Lewis Hamilton.
So this is Red Bull's 12th win in a row. This is something that hasn't happened in a dog's age, uh, and by that I mean a very long time. Um, Once again, Red Bull was completely dominant. Sergio Perez worked himself up into third. Lando Norris placed second for the second consecutive race. This time, however, it wasn't nearly as close. He was 33.7 seconds behind as opposed to the 14 that he was last time. Um, and, Hamilton slipped off the start. There was a lot of dirt. There was a lot of smoke. There was a lot of very, very close racing right off a hop. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, the Mercedes didn't quite have the pace to compete with the Red Bull. And the improvements that McLaren have made have certainly made a world of difference for them.
Yeah, they're great, great racers. Let's talk about the National Hockey League. We'll start with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Mitch Marner opens up about the pressure of playing in Toronto. There's pressure playing in Toronto.
I mean, there's expectations. And for the amount of money that a lot of these guys are getting paid, I know it's the old hackneyed core four argument all over again. But for the amount of money that these individuals are getting paid, um, we expect slightly better results than we've been getting. I can't argue with that. They are great regular season players, but unfortunately, they seem to disappear during the playoffs. Marner himself has had 554 points in 507 career games. It's one of those things where he produces at such a level that people expect more of him, and he hasn't been able to come through. So of course he is going to be under a microscope. Um, Hopefully it's not going to affect him too much, and he can continue to deliver.
Well, the point is he has to break through in the playoffs for the Leafs to win. Your big guys have to do something, and whoever those big guys are, they don't necessarily have to be the highest paid guys, but there have to be guys that break through. The old saying is very true. You need players to get you to the playoffs, and you need players to get you through the playoffs. So the Leafs haven't found the guys yet that can get them through. That's the problem. They can get to the playoffs. They can get home ice advantage. They can do all the things up to that point that you hope a team could do. Like there are a lot of teams that wish they could play at home in the playoffs. The Leafs have done that. They've had home ice advantage many times. They just haven't been able to turn it into advancement. And, we'll see. They've got a new GM now. Um, there's a little more snot on the team, I guess. Remember, there was a phrase called that people used to say, kicking the snot out of somebody. And that's why that term, I think, is coming out, because that's what it triggers. For those of us that are old enough to know that terminology.
It's certainly something that I'm familiar with too. But I mean, at least one thing is relatively clear, at least for 1 year, and that is the Leafs goaltending situation. Ilya Samsonov was awarded a 1 year, $3.55 million contract for the 2023-24 season. This was after going through arbitration with the Maple Leafs on Friday. The initial ask from the Maple Leafs was 2.4, and Samsonov filed a $4.9 million claim. So the
Down the
contract
middle.
comes in just under the middle between the two. So it's at least that clarifies what they're doing there. Samsonov will be sharing the goal with Joseph Woll this season. I don't think Matt Murray is going to be playing another game for the Maple Leafs. I think he's going to be LTIR'd.
LTIR or bought out?
More than likely LTIR, just because they could use the cap space. They are currently a little bit over where they should be
Yeah, like
when it
two and a
comes to
half
the cap.
million.
Yeah, and which is about the value of Murray's contract. So
It
there you
just so
go.
happens. It just so happens.
Roboda Island.
There you go. Okay. Here's one that it's interesting. Their old nemesis, the Maple Leafs, played for Ottawa. Carlson has apparently spoken to 4 teams, one of which is the Maple Leafs. And I wonder for him to get on the team, it's not just about the contract, it's about what player gets deleted coincidentally on the back end of the Leafs. A former Calgary player comes to mind.
There is the possibility that the former Calgary captain might not be part of it. Certainly, it's a matter that's open for discussion here, but also important to remember he's also been in talk with the Carolina Hurricanes, where his old defense partner is currently playing, as well as the Seattle Kraken and the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's unlikely to go within division to the Kraken, or within conference, sorry, to the Kraken. It didn't necessarily work when he was partnered with Burns when they played together on the Sharks, so it's unlikely he'd go to Carolina. The two most likely landing spots are going to be either Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins, or Toronto with Treliving. So we'll see what happens.
Well, it'll be interesting. Let's
For
talk
sure.
about the Sens and their LRT woes complicating LeBreton arena plans.
So, as many OC Transpo doesn't exactly have the greatest record when it comes to the LRT line that they've managed to operate. There is a genuine concern. If you're going to build an arena, you need to be able to get people to get to it. If the LRT is continually failing, then this is going to be an absolutely massive problem. Now, I know that they have not had issues before with getting everybody out of there after Shania Twain shows, or after Ludacris and Pitbull shows. But Pamisi Station, which is one of the stations by LeBreton Flats, has been having issues, specifically accessibility issues, and that is an ongoing concern.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a minute to talk about a news story you haven't spoken about.
Sure. I mean, we can take a
Any
look. I was going to say, as it currently stands, one of the issues, I had a story from actually 2 weeks ago now. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to find it. It's lost in my archives.
What was it?
We actually need to get running at this point, I think, Frank.
Okay. Well,
sorry about that.
Tried giving it a shot. It didn't work. He's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live. Aaron Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. And don't forget Candid Frank Stanisci 1023 on YouTube. Subscribe and enjoy what we do. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.